What's up? You are listening to For the Artists, a podcast brought to you by Creative M Projects. I'm your host, Melissa Sharee. Seats is not in the house today, but I am thrilled because we have a special artist feature. So y'all know I got to do my hype intro, okay? Because everybody I bring on is special and, as I like to say, amazing. And so yeah, this person right here is no exception. He's amazing too. His name is Corey, y'all. Corey Hogan. Now listen, he plays the saxophone, which is one of my favorite instruments, by the way. Okay, I call it the sexy instrument. But anyway, he started playing saxophone in the 7th grade after being placed in a beginning band class. He was in an after-school program in elementary school, and he sang in the choir. That's a little tidbit that I did not know, okay? Little singing action. This was on his transcripts, and it allowed him to be placed in a music class in middle school. He chose the saxophone because it looked difficult and he wanted a challenge, okay? He excelled and became one of the top performers in the program at Henry Clay Middle School. He then went on to Washington Prep High School. Now, here's another little tidbit, okay? He was an athlete first, y'all. There's something about athleticism and musicianship that goes together. It's like, anyway, table that. Okay, he was initially going to play baseball. So you know what? A-Rod wouldn't be probably what he is today had Corey went a different route. But anyway, the band director found him and told him that if he joined the marching band first semester, he'd be able to play baseball the second semester. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And he was placed in the jazz ensemble playing baritone sax. Okay, while he was at Washington, he won 2 championships in the marching band, 3 in the jazz ensemble. He became a drum major and an intricate member of the jazz ensemble and jazz combo. You guys, he was a member to first Thelonious Monk program and the first Vale Jazz program, where he met and played with Tia Fuller, Miles Mosley, Ryan Porter, Keisha Potter, Tobias Janelle, and many, many more. And this was all under the tutelage of the Clayton brothers. He was able to meet, y'all ready for this? Herbie Hancock. Okay, I ain't met Herbie yet. What is really going on? He met Herbie Hancock and James Carter, being a member of the Monk Institute, and he did many performances for the community. He was also a member of the Locke Multi-School Jazz Ensemble. I mean, y'all, it goes on and on. Let me fast forward a little bit, okay? Because he went on to attend UCLA. He was ranked number 4 with a 4.02 GPA in high school. No wonder I couldn't get into UCLA. Dang, okay? That was my dream school, by the way. But let's just stick with this intro real quick. He was in the jazz ensemble and jazz combo there. He performed alongside his good friends, Kamasi Washington, Cameron Graves, and David Hart. And this time it was under the tutelage of the great George Bohannon. Hopefully I didn't jack that name up. Corey went on to his very first tour in college. Okay, he was a member of the Idaho Orchestra, playing behind Christopher Calloway, which is Cab Calloway's daughter. And after he finished at UCLA, y'all might have heard of this next crew. He immediately went on tour with the Wylde Bunch. Love the name. It's a hip hop alternative band that he joined while at Washington, and they still perform to this day. Now, I got to tell y'all, Corey is now a freelance professional musician. He has played with the likes of Chaka Khan. I was going to be Chaka Khan. But anyway, Kanye West, Gloria Trevi, Montel Jordan, The Roots, Pharrell, The Black Eyed Peas Music, Marsha Ambrosia, Guapole, Dwele, Lettucey, Tank, Angie Stone, Faith Evans, Johnny Gill. Y'all, come on, and many more. What? Give it up, y'all, for Corey Hogan. If you was here, y'all will be on your feet right now. Corey.
Thanks.
Hello. What's good?
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. Again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. So I got a little list of questions for you. So I'm going to go right in.
Okay.
All right. So where are you from? Because a lot of those places that we shouted out were LA, but are you from LA?
Yes, born and raised.
Born and raised.
One of the few born and raised in LA that's out here right now.
Yeah, which that is unusual because everybody here is like a transplant. I'm a
Everybody,
transplant.
everybody. It's a few of us out here that are a couple of the homies that went to high school and college with me that are on the scene that are from LA. But for the most part, you're right. Most people are transplants, but I am not. I am born and raised in Los Angeles, California.
Yes, deep LA roots. So, what was it like growing up in LA?
Um, well, I'm not gonna say I was sheltered, but I was one of those what you call a latchkey kid. Both my parents worked, and my brother and sister were much older than me, so I had to immediately after leaving them after school programs, I would go right home and lock myself in the house. So I wasn't privy to a lot of the whatever you want to say traditional stereotypical gang activity that's in LA growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Plus I lived I guess you want to say further south towards the Gardena area, so the activity wasn't as prevalent as you would see in maybe further north. So for me it was literally I would go to school and go home. So growing up, that's what I did. Like I said, I played baseball first. So if I didn't have practice after school, I was at home. And that was pretty much all the way through high school. If I didn't, so like I didn't play baseball in high school, so I started playing saxophone in seventh grade. So I would go to school, go to practice, go home and play saxophone.
Mm.
So and if I didn't, I got in a lot of trouble. So that's why I say I kind of like shelter, but not really, because I can go places and do things with my friends. But I literally was like, you go to school, you bring your behind home. So to answer your question, it was pretty normal. Like I didn't get into the activities of the streets or everything or into the drugs and all. I didn't do any of that. I just played either baseball or saxophone. So that was it.
Okay. Dope. So I've already told everybody that you play the saxophone. Do you play any other instruments?
I do. I was kind of forced in high school by my band director to learn how to play clarinet and flute for jazz ensemble. So basically he was like, here's the music, get a book, learn how to play it. So I had to play bass clarinet and flute in jazz ensemble. Then when I got to UCLA, I got a specialization in music education. So you have to play a brass instrument. Even though I had friends in high school that played brass instruments, so I picked trombone. So I can play trombone, I can play trumpet, and I had to play a string instrument, and I picked viola because nobody wanted to pick viola. So I'm not gonna say I know how to play it, but I did it for my whole year for the education part of the degree, and of course piano and a little bit of drums for production reasons and for songwriting reasons. But yes, I played all those other instruments as well.
What? Wow. Okay. It's a lot I didn't know about you.
What?
Um, I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Look, I'm just, whoa. So, why did you start playing instruments? And I know you mentioned that you started playing in the seventh grade. Like, how old was that?
Seventh grade is what, 12?
Okay.
I think. Yeah, it's right out of sixth grade. Yeah, I just like I said, like you mentioned before, I was in the choir in elementary school just for the after school program, and because the choir was actually the better one of that. If they had like choir that you can go outside and play regular old kickball or you could draw or something, I was like, no, give me something else, right? So I was in the choir, and then we got to do the whiz, and I was in the whiz. I was a tin man.
What?
Um, yep. Look, he's keeping. There's more stuff you don't know, but
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. Keep it coming.
So since they, like I said before, since they I was in the choir, they put me in the beginning band class at Harry Clay under Mr. Spencer, and it just went from there. Like, she showed us all the instruments like first or second week of school, and we got to pick the ones we wanted to, and I just chose saxophone because it looked difficult, and man, I just didn't put it down. So here I am today playing saxophone.
That's so interesting that you chose to pick the difficult one. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. So at what point did you realize that you were good at being a musician?
Well, that's an interesting question because like I don't want to go. I mean, I don't feel that way right now. I'm always
Mm.
striving to be better. Like every time I put my mouth on the horn, I want to be better than I was yesterday. So I don't necessarily tell people I'm good. I just let
Mhm.
them hear me play and they make their own decisions, which usually is that boy good, you know. But as far as me realizing it, I realized that I had potential to be better when I got to high school because I had no problem being self-motivated to learn things. I had no problem to be disciplined to take the music home, to learn the music. So when I came back the next day, I wasn't stumbling over it in rehearsal. So if you can say that is
Mhm.
kind of attributed to me being good, then yes, it was like ninth grade when I realized, oh, I could actually probably do this because I have the motivation and a discipline to actually, sit down and practice and get better. So I
Mhm.
guess you would say, what's that, 14 years old?
Okay.
So, and I had some people in front of me that were just ridiculous musicians at the high school level. So, like our band, which I always tell this to people, our band in high school, and people, people like to say that you think that your band is professional caliber because you're in it, and
Mhm.
really it's not. But our band was a professional caliber high school band, but a lot of the people that our band director brought down to listen to us were just in shock at how good we sound as a high school band.
Mhm.
And so I had some really good cats in front of me that were motivating as well, sitting me down and like upperclassmen, telling me to come to the piano, showing me stuff, seeing the potential in me to give me things that they would not give my other classmates. So it was that building process as well. But to go back to answer your question, I would say like 14 years old.
Okay. I appreciate your honesty when you first began to answer that question, because I think a lot of the artists that we come across, it doesn't matter how long they've been in it or how long they've been doing what they do. There's always kind of this, I don't know if I should call it an inner conflict, but it's like this inner thing. It's like, shoot, am I good or am I good enough? Right.
Right,
And like we're always speaking to younger artists who that struggle is even more prevalent because they're still trying to figure it out. And with social media and all this stuff going on, there's so much to compare yourself to that you could
right,
easily sabotage yourself and be like, maybe I'm not good. But,
right.
you
But
know,
also, I think social media sometimes can be detrimental in that way because so many of the younger artists are in a hurry to be famous
mhm,
and they don't put in the time to be good.
mm,
Like, and I know there's you go and you be like, what is this? Okay, no, but it has like a million views, or it has like, and
mhm,
people I've said this to a lot of people and they call me old, and they call me a hater and all this. And I'm like, no, it's just that you can tell that this person has not put in time and they want to hurry up and be famous. And for me, it's never been about that. Like you have to put in the time to be great before the fame will come if you just put in your time to be great and put out quality stuff. But a lot of younger artists don't do that,
mm,
unfortunately.
yeah. And we've had conversations with some, well, at least I've had some conversations with some other artists just that spoke to intention. You know what I mean? Like your intention really even may not necessarily should be even about, let me be famous. Like, if it's related to a gift or a skill. Yeah. But all right. So let me ask you this. Do you remember your very first paid gig and can you tell us about it?
My very first paid gig was my band director took me. We were just talking about this the other day. He took me to Washington D.C. To play with Montel Jordan on BET Soundstage. I don't know if you remember that show. BET Soundstage used to come on, I think, at like 9 o'clock at night on like on the West Coast.
Mhm.
So midnight on the East Coast, but um BET Soundstage, and he just took me to get my feet wet. We flew to Washington D.C. We did the rehearsal out here. Flew to Washington D.C. and did it, and I think my check was like $1,200 or something. And I
Mm.
thought that was big time money. You put it in the bank, and it, no, it was nothing.
But you were in high school. That is a nice, weren't you in high school? That was a nice chunk of change.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that was my first, that wasn't a scholarship. That was my first actual paid gig. So
Okay.
I thought I was balling for like half a second, and then quickly the money was gone on. I don't remember what I spent it on, but it was for something related to school. So either like was something for prom maybe, or I don't know, it was some kind of something, but it was gone very fast.
You weren't scared to go? Because, I mean, your first gig, you was traveling. Look at you.
But you know what? I wasn't scared to get on the plane, or if that was what you were asking, I was scared to mess up because it was even though it was pre-recorded, there was only one take,
Mhm.
and we had rehearsed one. It was one day of rehearsal for like 6 hours, I believe, and we did like a 30-minute thing when Montel Jordan. We did This Is How We Do It. I think this was when uh what you call it had just came out. Baby, it's all right. Go somewhere and get it on tonight. Whenever that
Oh,
was.
yeah.
So
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
so that was on the radio. So we practiced and stuff. I just didn't want to mess up because it was for my band director. So when your teachers are there and you mess up, they give you that look, and you're like, it's different than when you mess up with your friend. They just laugh at you. The teacher be like, dude, like, I brought you out here and I trusted you and you messed up. So that was more of what I was scared of, not the travel and all of that. So, and I got out there and we had a day off. So I went to go see the White House and all of that stuff. So it was a good experience.
Nice. BET Soundstage. You know what? That was back in the BET glory days. I miss that BET. It's like a whole different thing now, but
Totally
let me
different now.
let me keep us on the right path because I'll take us down another another rabbit trail.
Right.
All right, so this is a question like everybody wants to know when you are a musician. It's like, do you work another job, 5 jobs? You got 3 jobs, man. Like, or you just a full-time musician?
Well, I'm going to say I'm 90% a musician. I actually just help a family member in a doctor's office, part-time, like very, very part-time. It's literally a couple hours a week.
Hmm.
So, but then I also do investments in stocks. Got me some crypto. I got me some crypto. I got me some electric vehicle stock. I got some, letting it do what it does. Try to flip it and turn it over and keep it going. Um, but yeah, I'm 90% musician. So almost all of my income is from gigs.
Yes. And has that been for a while now, or did it take a while to get to that?
No, it's recently. I was
Okay.
working for a long time. So it's I don't know, maybe 4 years maybe. I just was doing the regular thing and I wasn't playing music at all.
Okay.
I was following the whole, my mom was like, get a job, get some health benefits, listening to my mom. And
Hmm.
some people were like, you play too well, you play too good to not be out there gigging. So I just made the decision to say screw it and change it around. And it was rough in the very beginning because I'm considered by our standards as old. So on a resume, you look at my birthday and they're just like, oh, this guy's old. But then when you see me in person, we got the youthfulness going on.
We got the dewdrop youth, the youth
Right.
dewdrops.
They're like, oh, okay. Well, see, I can see it make it work. But yeah, it's been recent. So it was a struggle at first. It's a little better now. I got a little bit of a name out there. People know who I am. I've done some little high profile gigs and stuff. So and it's just getting better and better.
Man, that's a beautiful thing. I'm happy for you. That's
Thank
great.
you.
Okay, so what do you think contributed to your success as a musician and leading you up to the place where you're in now? Like 90% doing well.
Um, Success is just I'm gonna say not being too scared to just get out there because when you're younger, everybody tells you that you have to just get out there. People can see you because oftentimes you can get work by just being seen and not
Mhm.
necessarily heard. If you're just being seen and you're just a nice person, like you'll get most of your work from being a nice person as opposed to playing very well. And I've seen a couple of friends not follow that route and now they don't work. And I've seen a couple of friends who are really, really nice and get all the gigs. And it just so happens they can play well, but they just get their gigs from being very nice people.
Yeah.
Like people will hire you because you're easy to work with over the fact that you can play all these notes. So I think the fact that when I first started to get out there, I was like, you know what, forget it. Like I'm a shy person. Like I'm a very introverted person and I don't like being around a lot of people like that. But you have to be, right? So I
Mhm.
just said, you know what, I'm gonna step out on a limb and I'm gonna go to these jam sessions. I'm gonna go to these recording sessions. I'm gonna go to these gigs where I'm just chilling and being around people. And then I started seeing some of the same people. And we know that the musician community is very small once you get inside of it. Like
Mm.
you'll be like, you know, such and such. Oh, that's the homie. That's the homie such and such from 20 years ago. I've been knowing him since high school. And you'd be like, wow, we all know each other. So I think that the main contribution or the contributing factor is just me switching my mind and like, I got to get out here. I can't just sit at home because it won't happen if you sit at home and do nothing. You have to go, you have to be seen. So I
Mhm.
just started going to every jam session. Like I have this list of like 15 jam sessions that I used to hit throughout the month, different ones.
Regularly.
Right. And
Dang.
oftentimes I wouldn't even play. I would
Mm.
just go, and you know, jam sessions are just full of saxophone players anyway. So I'm like, if there's 5 saxophone players here, y'all didn't play all the notes 4 times. I don't need to add any more notes. But if you see me, you can be like, yeah, that's the homie, blah blah blah. I get it, you know. So just being seen. So I'm just, and now that hopefully if things are picking up, like there's a few jam sessions that are there now that I just
Mm.
go to and I don't really play, but I'm just there. And you know, people see you. It's the same thing. So just getting out there and just letting people see you and you play at the certain ones. You know which ones are like, this one could possibly give me a gig. So let me play at this one. But
Mhm.
this one just got a lot of people at it. I don't need to play, but the homies, you know. So yeah, just getting out there is the main factor that I guess you would say allowed me to be a little more successful.
Okay. Okay. And now because you've been in it so long, what the heck keeps you from not giving up? Like what's your motivation?
Um, if you I would say if you put everything into working, you're gonna quit. My motivation is just to be better the next
Mm.
day. It's personal motivation.
Okay.
And plus I want to leave something when I'm gone. I want to leave something special musically because I am in a situation now. Don't have any kids. I won't have any kids. I'm not gonna be married. So I have to leave something else. And I want to leave something with the music. I want people to say that he was a great saxophone player, but he was an awesome person.
Mm.
So that's my, I guess, driving force to not quit. There's been times like I quit in college. I'm not gonna lie to you. I quit in college.
Mhm.
I didn't play for a whole quarter. Um, I thought the competition was too high at
Mhm.
UCLA. And then I was like, if it's like this at UCLA, imagine all the other schools across the country. We had some really, really, really amazing saxophone players that had been doing it at a higher level longer than me. You know, I'm not gonna say silver spoon, but they
Mhm.
had the money to get lessons and stuff since like ninth grade. Like I didn't get my first structured lesson until college because my
Mm.
mother couldn't afford it. And you know, you get there as a freshman in college, and these guys are just. I'm like, dude, you're the same age as me. Like, and so I quit. Like I was
Mm.
like, I don't do this anymore. I didn't practice a whole quarter. I would stumble through my lessons. I would do just enough practicing to make it through rehearsals, but I was literally going to work, going to class, and going back to the dorms. Going to work, going to class, going to because I was like, I can't do this. I'm not good enough. And I got out of that by just one day I just picked my horn up and it just worked. Like I wasn't practicing it. I just picked it up and it just sounded great when I played it. And I was like, oh, so all those years are not going to waste. But to go back to answering your question, I want to be better for myself. And I will tell anybody that if you're in it just to try to be famous or try to be, you know, super successful as a musician, that is so small. There's only a select few of us that get to that level.
Mhm.
Because there's only a few Kamasis, there's only a few Terraces, but we all can play because me and Kamasi and Terrace were all in the same high school band. And if you ask them about me, they will say that I know what I'm doing and I can play. I'm just not on their level.
Mhm.
And the main reason being is that they pursued music and I was working.
Mhm.
I, you know, anyway, I don't want to go that route. But I want to be better. Like I have right now, my main goal is to be great and I want to leave something good. I want to leave something really nice. So when I'm gone, they could be like, this dude was killing. And then, you know, all the old cats when they in the 80s and 90s, they'd be like, yeah, he was cool too. He was a clown. He liked to joke. and stuff like that. So
That's
yeah.
dope. That's what's up. So do you still have dreams of things that you want to accomplish?
Oh,
Like,
these are my goals. Like I still have dreams of being in front of like thousands of people in the audience playing my own music. Um, I still have dreams of playing overseas. Like I really want to play in like Japan. I want to go to Japan. If I can move to Japan and have a career and just stay over there, that's where I want to go.
really?
Um,
Wow.
yes, I've never been, but the music scene over there is totally different than America. Music scene overseas, period, is totally different than America. Um, and that's one of my goals. And my main goal right now is to put this doggone EP out. But I don't want it to be whack. Like I'm very critical of myself. Some people say I'm overly critical, but that's my main goal right now is to put a good album out
Mm-hmm.
and every song be non-skip. One of them albums that you don't skip anything.
Yeah.
No fillers. It's an EP, so it's only gonna have 8 songs, but I want every song for you to be like, wow, did you hear this one? Wow, did you hear this one? Wow, did you hear this one? That's my main goal right now musically. And also, and like always, to get better. Like I want to expand the vocabulary on my horn and add additional horns, because even though I play all these other instruments, I don't play them. They're not my main act. My main act is tenor saxophone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and on the album, I'm playing tenor, alto, and flute. And I want to expand that, perhaps put a couple of more songs with the other instruments on it. That's my main goal right now. But the big picture is to be on stage in front of thousands of people playing my own music. So,
Yes, I see it.
and I think it's coming. It's just really slow. Like I'm being prepared because it's going to be a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm being prepared slowly but surely.
Yeah. And I have heard this was a while ago, though I don't know if it's still true, in terms of like Japan, that they have such an appreciation for
Yes.
like American music and American
Yes.
musicians.
That's what I was told by a few people, which is why I want to get over there. Like I've never been, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of my friends like Thundercat and like Bruner and Kamasi and all of them, they've all told me that the appreciation for musicians and music over there is so much different
Mm-hmm.
than it is in America. So I want to go over there and I want to play. I just gotta get over there. I gotta get over there. So,
Sweet. Yeah, I think you gonna get there. You gonna get there.
yeah.
Okay, only got a couple more for you. You may have already answered this one actually earlier because you talked about that quarter at UCLA. Um,
Uh-huh.
but my question was, what has been the hardest thing that you've had to overcome as a musician? And I don't know.
Um Actually, the hardest thing is, and it's not a jealousy thing,
Mm-hmm.
but the hardest thing is to see the same cats getting all the big gigs while the other cats are struggling.
Mm.
And it usually has nothing to do with, how can I say, it has nothing to do with you not being able to play as well as them. More so the fact that they were in the right place at the right time. So like I have friends that do The Voice, American Idol, all the TV shows, and they always get called. And I'm like, how come they're not calling me and we both can play? But in the reality is, why would they call me if they have someone that can do the job already? You
Mm-hmm.
know? And I used to just be like, I'm never going to get, I used to get so upset. But then I'm like, no, I'm happy for my friend. They're working. That's great. And I'm working. I just don't have the TV show where I can get like a $2,500 check for playing for like 15 minutes. One of those. So the hardest thing for me was to just be like, just because you don't have the gig, it doesn't mean you can't play. It just
Right.
means that it means something else. Clearly, like I've had this conversation with friends too. It's like that doesn't mean you can't play. That just means that somebody found them first, or they
Mm-hmm.
were, maybe they're friends with the producer, or they've been friends for 20 years with the drummer, and they called them, and that's usually the case. It's word of mouth. It's friends
Mm-hmm.
doing stuff. So I had to just be like, you know what, yours is gonna come, and that's how I got Kanye. Like I got Kanye from doing another gig with a keyboard player that was subbing for our keyboard player. And he just remembered me and I was cool with him and he just called me and I got the Kanye gig.
Yeah.
So it's just I just had to just be like, you know what? And it's not because you can't play. It's just that they're friends or
Mhm.
they've worked together more than you have. So it's hard though. Like it's hard to when you're sitting, like I'm doing. Like I have, if I have 3 gigs that total like $1,200, and you have one gig for 30 minutes that gets 1,500. It's hard. It's difficult, but I got 1,200, so
Yeah.
I shouldn't complain. But that's the hardest thing for me.
Dude, I feel like that's the reality. Like, for doesn't even matter what the industry is. Like, a lot of it is relationship and who you know. My favorite story for myself is I literally was neighbors with somebody who knew that I could sing and that I loved gospel. She came and knocked on my door one day and was like, "I'm working on this jingle. Can you
Right,
come? Can you come sing?" Literally, I tell you, I less than a minute. I came
right.
up with some odds for her, and that thing got me $12,000. And I'm like,
Right.
I'm waiting for somebody to come knock on my door again.
It's just who you know. You won't even know and be like, oh, that's my neighbor. Well,
Right. You
yeah.
know? So yeah. Yeah, hanging in there because you never know when that one little thing is gonna happen and just,
You
turn
never
some
know
stuff
who's
around.
listening. You never know who's paying attention.
Hmm. So, all right, we're gonna start to wrap up in a bit. All right. So how do you manage your career yourself?
Yeah, I don't have a
Yeah.
manager,
Okay.
so I set my own rates for solo stuff, and well, I mean, if I'm in certain groups, um, if I'm in a group, there's a rate for the group. When we do horn section stuff, depending on which horn section I'm in, there's a rate for the horn section. And when I do solo saxophone stuff, I have my own rates that include an hourly rate, it includes a travel rate, and includes a learning new songs rate. Because some people, when I do solo saxophone stuff, they want to hear something specific, and I'm like, well, you need to give me your list ahead of time, and I charge $25 a song. So, which is kind of deterrent because my song list is already 3 hours long. But
Mhm.
sometimes they just want something specific, and I'm like, well, I charge to learn it,
Mhm.
and then if you're more than like 25 miles from me, I charge you a travel fee.
Mhm.
Um, I don't. One of the things that I don't do, which everybody's telling me I should, is get a deposit. Um, I feel like if you speak to me word of mouth and we talk on the phone and everything is done that way, then I shouldn't need to worry about you backing out last minute. And I don't need a deposit because sometimes when you book me in March for a gig that's in July, you may not have a deposit in March.
Mhm.
I don't
Mhm.
want to take that away from your rent money or from your car note money to give me a deposit and you need it for something else. But I have been in a situation where this lady pulled out the day before
Yeah.
and I was out of like $300
Yeah.
for
Mm-mm.
a 2 hour gig. And needless to say, I don't work with her anymore. And the person that referred me to her was very apologetic because she was like, I wouldn't have done that to you because I didn't know she was going to do it. I wouldn't have done that. And I was like, it's not your fault, but just tell your friend that she should never call me again. So I am, to answer your question, I am my own manager, but in situations, like every situation has its own thing. Every horn section has its own rate. Every band has its own rate, things like that. So yeah.
So in that aspect, do you also consider yourself a businessman or no?
In that aspect, yes. And I had to learn a lot of that part putting the EP together because I had to get my ASCAP situation together. I
Mhm.
had to learn how to learn about splits because I have vocalists on my album. And I had to learn about the the payment aspect for, like the split aspect and do all of that stuff and copyrights and all of those things. And I had to learn about that because I kind of knew about it because I've been in Wylde Bunch for a while. When we were signed to Sony, we kind of had like a really, 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 really short business course. So about reading contracts and splits and copyrights and all of that. And I knew just growing up and just watching a few like documentaries and stuff that the whole copyright thing is a big issue. And plus we were victimized by copyrights for our first album anyway. And then I hear about other artists who, professional big time artists who got sued for copyrights, and this is like all.
Mm.
So yes, the business aspect is very important, and I had to learn it very quickly. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm a businessman as well.
So are you signed to an artist? I mean, signed to an artist. Are you signed to a label?
No, I'm independent. I'm very independent.
Okay.
I am right now. We are working on the EP, and I have two singles on streaming platforms. The first one is called '90s Kind of Love, and the second one's called Thinking of You. They're on all the streaming platforms, Spotify, Tidal, all of that. I don't really check numbers
Mhm.
because we all know that you get next to nothing for streams as far as payment goes.
Mhm.
So most of my income comes from live performing, the gigs that I have or the gigs that I acquire. I don't really check numbers, but I know they're out there because people are in my DMs asking me about being brand ambassadors and um, asking for they want to promote my stuff and all this. I don't really respond because a lot of these people are kids, and I'm like, yeah, you're just trying to get your name out there. Um, so I, yeah, I'm not signed to anything. We're just going to put it out under a distribution online and make sure we can clear all the samples to get everything. All of the other, because two of the 8 songs have samples in them, so we're trying to make sure we can clear those before we put out the EP, and then just put it out like that. I'm not really going to do a label thing. I want the label to come after me. I have someone who I've known since I was like 14,
Mhm.
who manages Kamasi
Mhm.
and manages Miles and manages Nubia Garcia. I don't know if you know, she is a saxophone player out of the UK. And she told me when the EP is done to come talk to her about management and all of that stuff. So I have someone in my corner. I'm just not worried about it right now.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
All right, I got one more question before we kind of wrap up with like anything you want to highlight and what's going on. So the final question is because you seem content and you seem like real future forward, like things are headed in a direction that you're like happy about, looking forward to. So my question, especially since when we're speaking to artists, we're all about helping them develop from the inside out.
Mhm.
What is it that keeps you like grounded?
Well, I think it's my upbringing from my parents. Like I've always been raised to be humble. Um, no matter how much fame or fortune you get, you're still a person. The the cliche or stereotypical whatever, the janitor is just as important as the millionaire. Like they're still people.
Mm.
And I've seen buttholes in real life, and I'm like, I don't want to be that. I've worked with some people where you're just like, and I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but I worked with some not nice people, and
Mm.
I've seen them in action. And I was like, I never want to be that. I never want anyone to look at me and be like, I don't want to work with him because he's arrogant or his ego or any of that stuff. And plus, I know that I'm not the best. There's somebody that's always going to be better than me. So, just I just work on just being super chill and just playing the horn very well. That's all I want to do, and it just stems from parenting. My parents are you always stay humble. You always humble, regardless of how much success you acquire. You stay
Mhm.
humble because that's just the way you're supposed to be. So yeah.
Nice. Shout out to your parents. Whoop whoop. All
Right.
right. All right. So before we get ready to wrap it up, tell us. I know you said you're working on an EP, but like tell us what's happening, what's coming up, what you want us to know, how we can find you, see you perform.
Yeah, I'm working on an EP. It's going to be called Second Chance. It's going to have 8 songs on it. It's a different sound. It's a sound that you haven't heard before. It's going to be categorized, unfortunately, as smooth jazz, but it is so far from smooth jazz when you hear it. Like you
Mhm.
can't even put it in that category. It's featured a lot of my friends, a lot of vocalists. Got some rapping on it. It's featuring a lot of horn parts, of course. I use 2 different horn sections. And yeah, that's coming. I want to put it out on my birthday. It just depends. It's being co-produced by my good friend Ishmael Ferguson, who was in Wylde Bunch. He's the drummer in Wylde Bunch with me,
Okay.
and it's being co-produced by him. But he's also a drummer. He's also a mixing engineer. He's also a sound engineer, and he's doing it for free. So I get in there when he has time. So there's that, and you can find me on Instagram at CMHSAX. That's where I do all of my serious saxophone playing. But if you want to see the funnier side of me, I also have a TikTok for just that reason. And I
What?
have 17,000 followers. Thank you. Um, under
Dang,
the
that's a lot.
Hey, I'm surprised. My highest viewed video is 1.3 million views. So but it's under the same name, CMHSAX.
Okay.
And that's where I do the silly side. Like I play a lot of game show songs, a lot of songs from video games and TV shows and stuff like that. If you just want to see that side of me, and you can find me there. I use Facebook, but you don't need that. I hardly do anything on there. Mainly Instagram. Instagram is where I put a lot of my flyers for my performances. And because of COVID, I'm not in a lot of clubs. My main gig now is Legoland.
Hmm.
Um, but those dates are so up in the air, like they come and they go and they come and they go. The next one it will be next Monday on the 26th, or what's that, the 24th, 20 whatever, 27th.
20, no, 26. You're right. You're right.
So I'm there Monday, Thursday, and Friday of next week if anybody is in the area. And then yeah, whatever kind of I do I'm doing some birthday party, just solo sax stuff since COVID, everything is
Yeah, yeah.
closed. So yeah, but I'm mainly just working on the EP and doing the Legoland and practicing. Like I really want this EP to sound really, really good. So yeah.
Well, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear it. Did you tell us when your birthday is so that we can look for it or no?
Oh, it's on July 10th.
Okay,
July
it's
10th.
coming up.
July Cancer.
You a summer baby.
The best cancer. So
I'll have to say that. That's true. That's kind of true.
right. So but I do have the two singles. Like I said, I have the two singles out. If you want to go to Spotify, it's called 90s Kind of Love, 90s Kind of Love, and Thinking of You. And you have to search my last name because
Okay.
that's going to be my artist name. It's my last name.
Okay.
And they're both on there. They sound really great, and it's also on my YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel where you search under my initials C_H, and everything is on there as well. I do. I put the music on there, and I also do like saxophone reviews for like educational reasons.
Dang. Okay,
So
so you have a presence. We can definitely find you.
yeah, if you yeah, I'm trying to make it work with the multiple streams, multiple things, in
Yeah.
in addition to the investments of stocks, and yeah,
Yeah,
gonna do all.
you are doing it, okay? And I'm definitely gonna check out the TikTok because I think I got like 2 followers and their family members. I haven't figured out TikTok at all. Like I can't do nothing on there, so I just basically scroll.
I don't know how to use it. Like people make these transitions and all. I'm like, yeah, no. I just posted a video that I think is funny, and people watch. I don't know how to use the sounds that's on there. I don't know how to do any of that, and I'm afraid to ask them. Be like, oh, you old. I'm like, oh man. So whatever.
Well, I'm gonna check it out for sure. All right. Well, Corey, you know what? I really, really, again, I appreciate you coming on and being our featured artist this week. I can't wait to upload this and put it up.
Nice.
So as we wrap up, you guys have been listening to For the Artist. I just have to do a quick plug because we have a give-a-thon happening this Sunday. We do it every year, and it's a fundraiser to raise money for the artists. So go to our website, creativemprojects.org, for information. You can get tickets, you can make a donation, whatever you got is great. But we will see you all next week. I always say see, even though some of y'all are listening, you can see us with your eyes, okay? And until then, I want y'all to keep creating from the inside out. Give it up for Corey Hogan, our guest today.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes. All right, y'all. Peace.
All right. See you later.